This is understanding Roman numerals in pharmacy today. And so we're going to go to question number 1, which is when a smaller Roman numeral is placed before the larger number, do you add or subtract? And so what I'm writing down now is IV versus VI. So we're going to look at number 5 or V5 and then I equals 1. And so we can understand here that if it is after the V, then that is going to be 5 plus 1. But if it is before, it can either be taken as -1 plus 5 or 5 minus 1. So yes, you are going to be subtracting if the little number is before the big number. And now I'm just erasing it so we can take a look at it at full scale of why. Why is this the answer? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4. If I can write down 4, 5, 6. And so I'm just talking about how you can't repeat numbers or numerals more than 3 times. I also ended up writing, I think, 7 to 10 in afterwards because then I was like, that looks weird. And so we can take those examples of like 3, 4, and 5, or 6. And now we're going to look at question number 2, which is 235 a Roman numeral or an Arabic number? And so this can easily be read so it is in fact a number versus being a numeral. And the way that we can understand that it's a number versus a numeral is that if we looked at the numeral version, it's going to be CC, XXX, and V. C is for 100, X is for 10, and then V is for 5. And so you can see that 100 times 2, 10 times 3, and then 5 times 1, that's going to be 5, 30, and then 200, and then you'll just add those numbers up and you're going to equal 235. So that's how you understand that it's a number rather than a numeral. And then now we're going to look at question number 4, which is or number 3, which is what is XX minus X1 equal? Oh, you know what? I never read the beginning part of this, which is solve it in Arabic numbers. So scratch all that I said here, because it is in fact going to be 9, but also it's going to be D instead of B, because I read that wrong. So just scratch that. I said B instead of D. It is in fact D. And so the way we are going to explain this, if I could stop pausing in the middle of me writing, I think I deleted like 13 minutes off of this because I just pause for no reason. So we look at the numbers, it's going to be 20 minus 11 because the I is after the X for 11. So you take that and that's going to equal 9. And then I didn't know that we weren't solving for Roman instead of numbers. So I am going to explain what 9 is. So x is going to be 10, xi is going to be 11, and then ix, because the I is in front of the x, is going to be 9. However, it is in fact D. So for number 4, we're going to be looking at what is the Arabic number equivalent to Roman numeral XXV. And so it's just going to be 25. Again, 10 equals X, V equals 5. You're going to do times 2 and then times 1 on that. And then you're going to add those two together to equal 25. Now we're going to look at number 5. And I wrote this in like how you would receive a prescription because that's what I'm trying to like remember in my brain. So like it's a little bit different than what it says on the paper. So you get a prescription for ibuprofen, CCL, mg with the SIG 2 tablets by mouth. Or I mean II tablets by mouth for III times a day, or TID. And so first we're going to look at the strength. And at first I didn't really understand that. Maybe it was just like writing out the CCL. So I did a little bit of division in this. And so CCL is going to be equal to 250 milligrams. And then I do end up dividing that by 2 to get the milligrams per tablet. And so the milligrams per tablet is going to be 125 milligrams over 1 tablet, which is just going to be equal to 125 milligrams. And then so I end up just writing 125 milligrams right there per tablet. And then later I will clarify that the strength is 250. Then we're going to look at how many tablets will they take each dosage. And I already slipped up when I was talking and I said 2, so it is going to be 2 tablets. We know that because II equals 2. And now we're going to be looking at how many times a day will they be taking their medication. And so I wrote this in abbreviation, and now I'm just going to write it out how it was written. So I times a day, which that I is going to be equal to 3. And then you can just tell that through the 3 I's or the TID. And then this is where I clarify that that's going to be 250 milligrams. Now we're going to be looking at number 6. If a patient is to take SS tablets daily, how many tablets are they taking? And so instead of writing out, because mostly I'm writing out the A, B, C, D, and then like circling it. For this one, I just wrote that SS is equal to 1/2 or 0.5 tablets. And so then that makes the answer 1/2 of a tablet daily. We are now going to be looking at number 7. What Roman numeral is equivalent to 2005? I had a little bit of a struggle trying to figure out how to write that small. And so we're going to remember that M is 1,000 and that V is 5. And then I just write out the A, B, C, D. That's where I was mentioning last time that I didn't do it for 6, but I did it for the rest of them. And so A is going to be DDV, B is going to be MDV, and C is going to be LCV, and then D is going to be MMV. Now, automatically, we can tell that it is D because there is 2,000, which means that's going to be 2 M's, and then there's 1 5, which means that there's going to be 1 5. Alrighty, now we're going to look at number 8. You have a prescription for IV ounces of syrup. How many ounces will you dispense? And so we have to remember that V equals 5 in this occasion. And so we're going to write our A, B, C, and D. And so A is going to be 6 ounces, B is going to be 9, C is going to be 4, and D is going to be 5. And now we can look at 9 right now, which the Roman numeral equivalent, and we're going to look at how x is 10, is going to be ix, which means that is not what we are looking for. And then we're going to look at number 5, which is just B, not what we're looking for as well. And then we're going to look at 6, which is going to be VI. And that is also not what we're looking for because we are looking for IV. And so it is ultimately going to be C, which is 4 ounces. And then we're going to look at number 9, which is the M as a number, which M, as we discussed earlier, is going to be 1,000. And we can remember this by thinking of a millennium. And then we're going to look at number 10, which is our last question here, which is D in numbers. And so D is going to equal 500. And the way that we can think about that is that it's just like a deep value, or you can just think of it as half of M. That's going to be understanding Roman numerals in pharmacy. I hope you guys enjoyed the video.